Hey, what's going on, everybody? I guess you're wondering why I'm not outside walking around. Um, I got a story to tell y'all. Something happened to me a long time ago. It's kind of changed my life. I got a Bible laying here, and I want to go ahead. I want to put my hand on this Bible. The story I'm about to tell you happened to me. The best of I can remember it happened to me when I was 13 years old. I'm going to tell it to you the best I can remember. It's true. I'm going to tell it kind of fast because I know y'all don't want to look at this ground and look at the picture and stuff. And I can't show you my face and everything. But I'm going to tell you this story. It happened to me. And then I drawed a picture of what I saw that night. I've asked hundreds of people. I've drawn this picture in my lifetime hundreds and hundreds of times. And I've asked people when I draw this picture what it looks like, what they see. And nobody can explain it. I drawed it again today. I drawed it for y'all. I'm not no artist, so please don't critique my picture. But I'm going to tell you the story what happened, and I'm going to show you the picture, okay? Now, I went fox hunting with my uncle and my cousin. This was in 1982. It was on a hot summer night. And his foxhounds were running. They were running pretty hot, pretty heavy. And he would give $300 or $400 for a dog. And he had about 6 or 7 dogs, so he had a small fortune in his hounds. And we'd usually stay to about 11:30 or so, on a good night if they was barking and running. Now, when you fox hunt, you don't really go after the dog. You more just sit around, build a fire, and sit there. And, of course, he can tell which dogs are in front, and he knows them by name. Me and my cousin, we could care less. We got out and walked around in the woods and talked about girls and everything else, just to get out of the house is all it was. But you just kind of stayed around the fire, and you really didn't go nowhere. Well, this particular night, his dogs were running extremely well. And when they got to running really good, he would walk away from the fire, because I guess we'd make too much noise, and he'd walk off in the woods by himself where he could hear. And this night, he disappeared. He walked off into the woods. And he'd been gone for a while, and he'd come back, and then he'd leave again. And I remember it got late. It got real late into the night. And me and my cousin, we got kind of tired. I guess it was getting to be around 1 o'clock in the morning. This is the latest we'd ever stayed. And his dogs were running. We could hear them way back in the holler, and we thought, man, we're going to be here forever, So we dozed off. We was in a little Chevy Love truck. Probably a 78 model, I guess, if I can remember right, somewhere around in there. I was in the driver's seat, and he was in the passenger seat, and we kind of fell asleep, nodded off. And we were on top of this great big old hill. And as we nodded off, I don't know how long we were out, I had my head against the door, the window of the door. It was down, but I had my head kind of against the back part where it wasn't really the window, but it was the cab of the truck. And I felt the truck vibrate. And the first thing in my mind was that I have knocked it out of gear or knocked the emergency brake off. As I felt the truck vibrate, I jumped to my senses. When I jumped to my senses, I looked over my shoulder to the left of me, out across the mountains there, and I saw something that I could not explain, and I cannot explain it to this day. And I'll show you a picture of what I saw. I drawed it right here. If any of you all have ever saw this, then you let me know. I've never talked to anybody that's ever seen this before. This is what I saw as I looked to my left. It made no noise. It didn't light up the sky, but it was a light in the sky. I could feel the vibration from it. This lasted about 3 to 4 seconds. And it seemed to set down behind the hills there, or it seemed to implode. I can't remember. I froze. I was in fear. I didn't know what I was looking at. I didn't know if this was a sign from God, if this was a UFO. I had no way of knowing what this was. This terrified me. I remember waking my cousin up. He didn't see it. I remember my uncle coming back. By now it's 2:30 in the morning. Some people might want to know if I lost some time. I don't know. We were asleep, so I don't know. I remember him coming back through the woods running. Now, to me, this thing was as big as the sun. It was huge. And the first thing I thought was that the whole world had seen this. Not just me. I thought everybody in the state of Tennessee had to see this thing. It was huge. So as he come back through the woods, I asked him, I said, Cedric, what was that? He asked me, what are you talking about? But it was awful funny. He was ready to go when his dogs were still running. Then again, it was 2:30 in the morning and he was older. So I don't know if he was ready because he was tired or if he'd seen this too. He told me I was crazy. I had hallucinated this whole thing. I had a bad dream. All these things. No, I didn't hallucinate. I had drawn this thing hundreds of times in my life. I have colored it. I have drawn it and drawn it. And I've asked people before if they have ever seen anything like this. Nobody's ever seen anything like this, ever. Well, years go on down the road, and I'm watching a TV show called Unsolved Mysteries. And as Unsolved Mysteries go on, they're doing a special on UFOs and aliens, and they don't do a show or a story on this particular, anything that looks like this at all. But as the announcer is talking, they go across a book with pictures in it. And I'll be danged, in that book is a picture of what I'm talking about right now. Very close to it. Very close to it. They do not comment on the picture at all. It drives me crazy. They just kind of glide right across the picture. And I screamed to my dad, look, there it is. There is what I saw years ago. There's what I've been drawing for everybody. Well, I didn't know what book, what the picture was or anything. So I would Google UFOs that look like the sun with curved lines behind them. I Googled that for years and years, and I never found anything. Nothing. Still nothing. Until one day, I saw that picture again. And when I saw that picture, the next time, I found out what it was. This right here is called, I took a couple of pictures off the internet of it. Some of y'all might know what this is. It's the 1561 celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg, Germany. This right here is the closest thing I've ever seen to what I saw, and I didn't see none of this other stuff. If you Google this and you read about this, there's videos on the internet where this was some sort of war or a sign from God, that they thought that this happened in the early morning hours. And they actually thought this was the sun at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, what I saw was at 2 o'clock, 2:30. But once I saw that, I jumped to my feet. I could not believe that I was seeing a picture closely to what I had seen that night. And I felt like the person, whoever drew this picture, thought that the sun, drew it the sun because it was orange. So I figured the sun represented the color and the curved lines, and what I could read about it was all this was blood red, which was the same thing that I had saw. I had drew this picture thousands and thousands of times, I guess, in my life. I said hundreds, but I'm going to say thousands. Sometimes when I have nothing to do, I just sit and I just draw this very same picture. But like I say, don't critique my art. This represents the mountains, which ain't very good drawing. I had to hurry and draw this today at work. And then this represents the 3 seconds I saw this come right down behind it and sort of implode as it come down. And like I say, the truck was vibrating. I thought we was rolling down the hill, so I just all of a sudden I come awake. I was jolted awake because I felt a vibration. I heard no noise. This didn't light up the valley. It didn't light up the sky, but it was a light in the sky. I don't know. I've never figured it out. Maybe one day I'll know what it is, I guess. One day when I pass on. But if any of y'all have ever seen this, heard of it, know anybody that's ever talked about it, seen it, got any ideas, I'd appreciate it if you'd pass it on to me or put something down in the comments. I got the other video on my phone. I told you I was going to do a video about a fetch, and I did do that video. I went up in the Smoky Mountains, and went to a few cabins and done a few videos, but every time I started talking, somebody come up and kind of interrupted it full of tourists. I don't know if I'll upload that video or if I'll try to do it again, maybe a little bit better, because I kind of got hurried through that video. I'd like to do it just a little bit better. There's also another short video I done while I was up there too, of one of the haunted cabins that's up there. I may try to post it. It's very short, but anyway, I will get off from here, and I'll be interested to see what you all tell me in the comments. Thanks, guys.